Joe Hopkins here, and are you addicted to budget guitars, to collecting them, to collecting guitars in general? Right? I know I am. It's why I started my YouTube channel, to try to get to the point where YouTube would pay for my addiction. And I'm starting to get there. Maybe you guys should try it too. I'm holding my Firefly because I think Firefly has the collector market for budget guitars more or less nailed. I mean, they really get it. They offer various models for limited periods of time. They update them. They change the colors. You never know if they're going to reissue the same ones in the future. They come and go, and they're really good looking. And I know I've talked in the past about a couple of their, different issues with their guitars and their company, but something they do get right. They're good looking guitars, no matter how you shake it. And they get the collector thing down. You can go to Facebook and look up the groups, the Firefly guitar groups. People collect the hell out of these things. And if you have one that they discontinued, that they haven't offered in a while, and you go to sell it on eBay, man, the price goes just up because people, they want to collect them all, right? And you can actually do that with Firefly. But in general, guitar collecting, right? It's not a new thing. I've always dreamt of having a guitar collection. And in the past 10, 15 years, budget guitars, different brands that offer good budget guitars have become more and more prevalent, right? Now, depending on how much you spend and how much time you spend on it, maybe your guitar collecting is a problem, maybe it isn't. Maybe it's just like me, where I'm buying affordable stuff and I can afford it, and I'm not breaking the bank, and I've found the room for it, and it's a fun hobby, right? Or maybe you're spending too much. There are people that want the premium guitars, Gibsons and Fenders and Schecters and, Gretsch and stuff like that, and those can get expensive. But budget guitars have gotten so good. I remember when I was a teenager, I would go to the pawn shops and look for affordable guitars that were good. And it was kind of hard to find, you know what I mean? Like the budget brands at the time, a lot of them weren't terribly good. I still have my Harmony, that's an excellent guitar. And, my Yamaha C40, Yamaha was making guitars then, and they were good then as they're good now, and pretty affordable. But it seems like in the past decade here, we've really gotten a lot of brands like Harley Benton and Firefly and Sawtooth that are selling reasonably good instruments, all the way from reasonably good to unbelievably good at very affordable prices, And it's kind of shocking. I talk about budget guitars. I've done a lot of videos on where to get budget guitars and stuff like that, like my favorite brands and whatnot. And depending on your flavor and what you want, it's out there, and it's out there at a reasonable price. I know collecting in general can be addictive. Some people collect coins, some people collect stamps, some people collect guitars, right? I know people that collect cars, and that is way less affordable, and not always nice cars, but whatever. Point is, collecting can become addictive. I do have to say, collecting guitars, especially if they're affordable ones, isn't a bad thing to be collecting, If you're going with budget brands, you don't have to spend a lot of money to have a lot of guitars, right? To have a lot of different styles of guitars and brands and pickup configurations and the like. You can try a little bit of every flavor without breaking the bank, and a lot of them are pretty good these days. Anywhere from pretty good to amazing. So, it's not one of the worst addictions. I was reading an article the other day about people who collect exotic plants. And in a lot of cases, those are endangered plants, and they're buying ones that were poached, which is destroying those plants. They're making them extinct in the wild. So their own obsession is destroying their obsession. And there are people who get really obsessed with collecting plants. And I mention that because that's an incredibly detrimental collecting impulse, right? That type of collecting addiction is, it's bad. You end up doing things that you shouldn't, buying things that are not necessarily legal, and it takes up just all of your time, man. Running a greenhouse, a lot of those plants take a lot of care. With guitars, the care is minimal. It doesn't have to consume your life. I know people that collect animals, and that consumes your life. You get enough dogs, cats, horses, goats, chickens, just start a hobby farm, for God's sake. But it takes a lot of time and effort and money, and it can be difficult. Or you could monetize it. Some people start a small zoo or a petting zoo or something like that. And that's a great way to collect animals and at least, maybe make enough income off it to break even. Or start a hobby farm, sell eggs, milk, that kind of thing. But guitar collecting is, it's not a terrible thing. Unless it's consuming your life and you're spending way too much money on it and filling up whole rooms of your house with guitars. Which, if you get guitar hangers, you can hang them up on the walls. They don't have to take up that much space. One thing I can say about Firefly, which is absolutely true, these are good-looking guitars. These are great wall art, right? As far as playability goes, they're okay, right? As far as sound goes, they're okay. They're pretty good. I think they sound pretty good. Some people don't like the sounds of their pickups. I think they're pretty good. But they do look good. And sometimes you buy a guitar for that reason alone, just because you see it and it looks really nice, right? So, hey man, I know some of you guys collect guitars. If you collect guitars, I guess don't let it get out of hand, but you might as well feed that beast. It's not like you're doing heroin or something, It's not a bad hobby. It's not a bad addiction. There are worse things, right? Tell your wife that. I say wife, I'm not meaning to exclude the women. You can tell your husband that, but most of my viewers are men. So I know because I look at the Google Analytics. I guess I just don't appeal to the female species as much as some other dudes. But yeah, as long as you're not destroying your marriage, collect all you want, right? You might as well. They're affordable. I just thought I'd give my thoughts on that, on guitar addiction, right? Make sure you play them though. Play your guitars. Practice, man. Get better at your music. And one last bit of advice for you guys who want to justify your guitar collection, because I've used this. Get into recording, because then you need that guitar to get the sound you need for the recording. You see, I had to get a 7-string, and then I had to get a 5-string bass to, because you need that lower B string on the bass to go along with the 7-string, right? I want to do some country songs, so I got to get a Telecaster. I want to play some rock and blues stuff. I need a Strat for that, right? I want to play some acoustic stuff. I need a 12-string. I need a 12-string, man. 12-string acoustic you always have the next thing you need for the song you're working on, right? Great excuse to buy another guitar. I need a Floyd Rose for that solo. That wow, wow, wow. Yeah, you gotta have it, man. You're doing a metal song, you gotta have the Floyd Rose. So there you go, man. There's a wonderful excuse for you. So if that works, more power to you. It's worked for me a time or two. So anyway, that's my thoughts on it, guys. Collect your guitars. Collect them, love them, cherish them, and hang them all on the wall and sit here and look at them. That's what I'm doing. It's right behind the camera. I just got a wall of guitars. It's really nice to look at, right? Yeah, it helps that my wife's a guitarist also. So, she likes them. So she probably wouldn't buy that many, but she appreciates them. So anyway, Here in a sec, there's going to be an end screen. You should subscribe to my channel. And when that end screen comes up, check out my reviews playlist. I review a bunch of guitars. I'll tell you what's good and what ain't. There's a songs playlist. I mentioned I record stuff. You can check out my songs. I think they're good. I think my songs are good. Maybe you'll think so too. Maybe you'll like the artwork that I put on some of them. My daughter draws that stuff. Usually, if it's just a song where I'm not sitting there playing it, then there's a picture, and a lot of times it's a drawing, and my daughter does those drawings, and some of them are really crazy looking, right? Very, very rock and roll and psychedelic. I'm mumbling and meandering now. I'm just kind of free flowing my thoughts. Like, I don't know, man. I'm an artist. I'm a musician. We free flow our thoughts at times. So yeah, subscribe to my channel. And you know, I've got a list. Budget guitars, where to get them, right? I do one every year. My most recent one for 2023 has all the best places where you can buy some budget guitars if you want to collect, right? Because you want to collect. And I'll see you in the next video. I love you guys. Peace out, baby. Bye-bye.